Well, good morning, everybody. Today is an absolutely spectacular day for Logan and I
Yes. Good morning.
because today is day 365.
Yep.
We have gotten up and watched every sunrise since September 20th of 2024.
Yes.
And generally speaking, we've gotten up between 3:30 and 4:30 in the morning, depending upon when that sunrise is.
Yeah.
We've learned a lot in
Yeah.
365 days of watching the sunshine come up. And so today's a very special day for us. In fact, we're kind of celebrating our 365th uh, day of a morning sunrise. And as far as the number of podcast episodes, I want to say it's probably in excess of 275.
Yeah. We did
Because,
good.
yeah, in the very beginning, when we were only on Instagram, we were getting them out every day because it was easy. But then when you move to this new workflow and all this polish and all this stuff, ultimately it takes me a full day to produce and get a podcast up and out there. And doing that daily without a full-time staff would be nearly impossible.
Yeah.
So moving forward, we're going to still be doing the IPL Gratitude 365 podcast, but it's only going to be one day a week. Maybe sometimes twice a week if there's something cool going on. I feel like that would make sense. But for the most part, our goal is to take the podcast and not only leave Pima Park, but begin streaming it from around the valley so that
Mhm.
we can spread the love of gratitude and goodness throughout the entire city instead of
Yeah.
just Pima Park. And I'm going to apologize to my listeners right now, right up front. And I know you're going to tell me not to apologize, but this is a very emotional day for me.
Mhm.
And it's a very
Same.
emotional day for Logan because you and I have been through hell in life, haven't we? We've been through hell. Like if you look
Yeah.
at our childhoods and what happened to us
Yeah.
and the abuse that we faced and the mental damage and the disorders that we developed and
Mhm.
all those nasty drugs that people made us take and we no longer use
Yeah.
at all. And we learned how to completely heal ourselves,
Yeah. We're
didn't we?
survivors
We are
to the
survivors.
true
So,
definition.
yes. And so today we are celebrating, our 365th sunrise and over 250 podcast episodes on mental health, gratitude, and ultimately abundant happiness.
Yeah.
And for me, this started out as a social media experiment.
Yeah. Yeah. And look at where
And
it's become.
yeah, I had
Yeah.
no idea that this would become my business
Yeah.
and that I would be changing the lives of people
Mhm.
and watching people learn this crazy technique
Yeah.
that I learned. Now I call it crazy, and I guess it's crazy simply because it works and it's unusual. It's different.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's crazy. I would.
It's not crazy.
It's
Well, it's
unconventional.
unconventional.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
the
that
right
word.
word. It's
Yeah.
unconventional. That is very true. And so today, what if the secret to rewiring your brain? Hold on just a second. I'm gonna move forward here. There we go. All right. So, what if the secret to rewiring your brain, healing your heart, and unlocking true happiness wasn't found in some far off place, but right in front of you every single morning? So, for the past 365 days, we've tested that very idea. We've woken up with the sunrise, we've researched and studied neuroscience, mental health tricks, and most importantly, experiential gratitude. We've leaned into the equation of life and abundant happiness that we call ELAH, and the results have been nothing short of life changing. And what began as a social media experiment from me taking a picture of a sunrise one morning and posting on social media has completely changed my life.
Yeah. It has.
See, I'm already starting to well up. That's gonna be hard for me. And it's completely changed yours.
Yes. It has.
And I guess today it's not just our 365th sunrise, it's a celebration of a full year of transformation, right? Been a journey of science, spirituality.
You're kidding me.
I know it's so hard, right? And a daily practice of getting up with the sun and celebrating what we're thankful for, right? So if you ever wondered if gratitude is powerful enough to change your life, stay with us because we're going to prove it. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about how gratitude rewires the brain, why awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence, why abundant happiness exists in the neutral position, how gratitude is the spark and the fuel for living the most abundant life. How to see negative events as lessons, not punishments because we aren't victims. Learning to ride life's natural waves and rhythms. How prayer and manifestation work through believe, become,
Come, go.
bestow, behold. Rediscovering that good people exist when we look for them.
Mhm.
Lessons from nature, neighbors, dogs, owls, and the sun
And bees.
and bees. Yep. The productivity power of arising early and what this year of sunrises has given us. Okay. A community, tighter family,
Yeah.
better friends, a workshop that I created, a book that I'm writing, and an awesome website where you can learn about what we do. So, that list of 10 things was a list of things that I put together last night of what I've learned in 365 days of living in gratitude. And I want to really emphasize that point because when I first heard the word gratitude, when people messaged me online and were telling me what they were thankful for, and we're talking about how gratitude was so important to them in their lives, and I'm like, well, I've never lived like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand please and thank you, and I feel like I've been polite, and I feel like I've been generally grateful,
Yeah.
but that's not gratitude.
No.
Gratitude, if we do it right, it becomes a framework. And when you live it and you live in it, you adopt it. And it layers on to whatever it is that you believe. And it creates the most magical place.
Yeah.
The most magical place. And I remember when people used to say to me when I was struggling, and they would say, Thane, you need to be more grateful, lean into gratitude. And I'd
Mhm.
roll my eyes and be like, oh, great. If another person tells me I need to be grateful, I'm going to slug them. And I know I did the same thing to you, and
Yeah.
you have the same reaction.
Yeah. Yep. This is
Because
true.
sadly enough, we've all said that. Our parents have said that for years.
Yeah.
You need to be grateful.
Mhm.
And how many things did your parents say that you said, no? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that doesn't
Like,
really apply to me with my
no,
donors,
no, not with
but
your
I can
donors, but
understand where the perspective
yeah,
is.
yeah. So, as we do this episode today, I'm so full of thanks
Yeah.
and so full of gratefulness. I have to first start by thanking my mother and my father
Mhm.
for giving me the opportunity to come to this earth and to experience life. And I'm so grateful first for my parents, for my mother, Virginia Martin, and for my father, Ken Martin. And I'm so thankful for them and grateful for my siblings, uh, my sweet wife, Joy, my amazing friends that have supported me through the craziest journey. I mean, I was a mess.
Yeah. We
I've
both
been a
were.
mess in many parts of my life, and my friends stuck with me, the good ones.
Yeah.
Some scattered, and you know what? They should have scattered. They were practicing subtraction and they needed to get away with me from me because I wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
That's the truth. So, and then obviously I have to thank you, Logan. I met you online
Mhm.
as two strangers,
Yeah.
both struggling with identity,
Yep.
both struggling with mental disorders that were disabling,
Mhm.
both struggling trying to figure out how to stand up in life and reclaim who we originally were before the world took our lives away from us by abusing us.
Kicked us to the curb. They
Yeah,
did.
and that's the truth.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you, and I don't want to make you cry, and I hope you can hold it together.
We tried, but it was
I am
hard.
so proud of you, Logan.
I'm proud of you too.
What I'm most proud of is that you trusted me, and I learned something magical in an interaction with a human being that changed my life. That one day when that one human being showed me something that I had never felt before. And you trusted me. And like that little Energizer bunny that you are, you went out into the world and you tried this crazy technique.
Yeah.
And you had the same experience that I did.
Yeah.
And if you go back to the original episodes on our podcast of like day one, which is actually pinned on my Facebook page,
Yeah.
If you go to Instagram, you'll see every episode. Some of them got lost. There's probably 25 that didn't make it. We didn't store them somehow. It's just kind of happened in life. But I'm so amazed at who you've become.
And I'm amazed at who you've become.
Yeah, I'm a different person today.
Yeah.
And what's important to me is very different.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I want to talk about these 10 things that we've learned. But I couldn't do this show without you. And, you being willing to be vulnerable on this show has allowed people to heal and to heal your story and to hear my story. And we're just two regular people. I'm not a neuroscientist. I have a bachelor's degree in business, and I've lived in an incredible life, and I've struggled with some crazy crap. But from all of that came this learning. And I'll tell you right now, there is no PhD program that can teach you what we've learned.
Yeah.
And that's what's the most amazing and beautiful thing. And using gratitude to rewire life is real.
Mm-hmm.
It is real. And
Yeah.
when you do gratitude in the way that we do it, we call it experiential gratitude because you experience it with people that you don't know. And that's what's so amazing. Good morning, folks.
Good morning.
Welcome. You
Good.
guys are welcome to some donuts if you're hungry.
Got
A
some
little
donuts and juice.
juice over there. We're actually live right now, so you're
Yeah.
welcome to join in. Yeah. Yeah. So our podcast is about living. No, welcome, join.
Yeah.
Our podcast is about living the most amazing life, right? And it's rooted in gratitude. We started 200 or 365 days ago.
Today.
Today is our 365 day. We have
Thank you.
we have watched and celebrated every sunrise for 365 days. 3:30 in the morning, we get up to put this thing together. And probably the most amazing thing now is realizing
The
that
community.
the
You folks.
community that we have, like, yes, the
Yeah.
amazing people we've met,
Yeah.
the dogs, the
Absolutely.
bees. We know that when the lights come on at the park, we know when people are missing. Like we can go, something's going on with Dawn because we haven't seen him in a while. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's been amazing. But honestly, it's understanding that gratitude is the one thing that can completely change a human being's life. And I knew gratitude as please and thank you. And it was literally a social media experiment, this one right here, that showed me that gratitude isn't please and thank you. And very specifically, we learned a technique that we call it experiential gratitude. And when you experience gratitude in a very specific way that we teach it, you go into the world with this technique and you actually work with the public. Okay. And for 3 days, I'm going to keep you in gratitude and I'm going to teach you this very technique. And you're going to go into the world and then you're going to listen to your heart. And your heart's going to tell you who that magical person is that can touch your life. Okay. And then when that happens, there is a magical thing that happens between two human beings when they don't know each other. That is the most important thing right there. And it's when you experience gratitude with somebody that you don't know, gratitude gives you instant respect. You see, I couldn't come up to you and give you a hug and tell you that I love you, not without you thinking, what's wrong with this man? Okay. And then sadly, we live in a world today. We live in a world today, right, where we're not allowed to do that because we're afraid.
Boundaries.
Yes, because we've all moved to these polar extremes. We're all afraid to talk to each other. Walk out in public. How many people are actually looking forward when they're walking? They're not. They're looking down. Why? Where's their pride? They're afraid to look up and see something they may not want to look at. So with experiential gratitude, what happens is because it's a stranger and you don't know them, there's something magical and it will release 5 of the most amazing chemicals into your brain at one time in the most amazing way, and suddenly that stranger who is standing in front of you, your heart is open and their heart is open because your heart has a magnetic field that extends 3 to 4 feet from your body. So when you enter that space using gratitude and creating respect with a stranger, and you genuinely thank them for who they are and how they show up in your life, it will change them and it will change you. Because if you think about it, we all walk around in this world and people take care of us constantly. And we say please and thank you because our parents taught them that.
Yeah.
But do we really think about what it really does for us? So I'll give you an example. The people that work the front line in retail,
Okay.
I've worked frontline in retail, I used to own a food truck. And, when you work with the public, you deal with people that are struggling in life, and people show up in ugly ways, and they often take it out on the frontline workers, right?
Yeah.
So if you're facing the public, you're what I call a convenient emotional worker because you have to be nice and you have to be positive because if you're not, you get in trouble with work. So you're sacrificing your emotional energy while I'm misbehaving. Truth.
That is very true.
Right?
That is
Okay.
very
So I have to know and I have to respect the fact that that person is doing way more than just simply serving me a coffee. So we teach a very specific technique that involves a conversation. And in that very specific technique, there's certain things that we do in the conversation that are designed to open up the mind and the heart.
And the soul.
And yes, the soul specifically. And when you do, the first time I felt this experience, I'll never forget her. Her name was Carla. And I needed help because I needed a restroom and I couldn't find a place to go. And I'd been to 2 other stores trying to find a place to go. And I walked into a Carl's Jr. and the door was locked. And I'm literally about to wet my pants.
Ooh.
So I went up to the front and I opened the door and I walked in and this woman was there and she could tell that I was in distress. And she gave me the code to the bathroom. Okay, she didn't have to. I hadn't purchased anything, so that was a kindness in her heart. So I went back, I took care of business, as funny as that is, and then I came back feeling amazing because that's how you feel when you really need to
Yes.
go. Let's be real, okay?
That's
And then ultimately, I thanked her in a way that I'd never done before. I got genuine with her. And I said to her, I said, "You know what, Carla?" I said, "I don't I I I need to thank you for the kindness that you showed me today. I walked in that door, you could see in my eyes that I was in distress. And out of the goodness of your heart, you gave me the code to the bathroom, which meant I didn't get humiliated, which meant that I could go to my appointment and I could meet my customer and I didn't get in trouble at work."
and feeling confident.
Yes. And so that little thing that you did has shown up and rippled throughout my life. And I want you to understand that your kindness goes further than just that because now I can keep my appointment. Okay. And so I took out, I, she's a frontline worker. I carry $100 bill in my wallet to wrap my credit cards. And I grabbed that $100 bill and I said, I don't need this $100.
Mm.
And something tells me that you might need it.
Yeah.
So, Carla, I'm going to give it to you under one condition. If you need it, you spend it on yourself. And if you don't need it, my heart tells me that you're going to pay it forward and you're going to give it into the next person in line that doesn't have the money to buy that meal. And I know that. Well, about that time, she started crying.
Yeah.
And I started crying. And she said to me, "Are you for real?" And I said, "I am for real. And I thank you for showing up and touching my life today." And then I let go of that bill. And I got flooded with what I call the gratitude cocktail.
Yeah.
Which is the most you're getting vasopressin. Most people don't even know what vasopressin is. It's in our species, and vasopressin shows up when we don't know somebody, and it's critical, right? You can't know them. Vasopressin, dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline, right? We get all of that in this cocktail. She felt it, and I felt it, and we were both moved to tears. So, historically, most people try gratitude by writing a list of what they're thankful for.
Yeah.
And it's a good exercise. And I tried it for a while, but I struggle with patience. And so it didn't move the wheel fast enough for me. Truth. So then I downloaded an app called Gratitude365. It's a good app. And within about 3 to 4 days of that, it started irritating me because it started pinging me and it became laborious. And then I kept saying, Logan, I know we're supposed to study this gratitude, and that's what we started this social media experiment, our podcast. And I'm like, I'm going to figure out a way to find this gratitude thing. And then literally by the good grace of the powers that be, I met that woman and she taught me something and I learned something. And so then I started studying neuroscience and I started learning about how our brains work and how I could use this technique to manipulate my brain. So from this technique, we have learned how to completely rewire the human brain, and it is done with this technique. And literally within 5 days, I can take somebody from complete devastation to abundant happiness. And in that 5 days, you're going to be working. We use experiential learning. I've designed all kinds of, there's 101 exercises in my course that I will send you into the public and you will interact with people and you will interact with the world. And it could be something simple like one of the cards I have is called Lose a Limb. Okay. So if you pull that card from my deck, that means on that day, you're going to spend 2 hours of your day with taking your dominant hand and putting a sock on it and sticking it in your pocket. And that sounds funny because you're going to be walking around with a long tube sock on your arm, which means people are going to stare at you because that's how you want to show up. If you want to fix yourself, you got to experience it. So if you struggle to be seen in the world, when you put that sock in your hand and people start asking you why you're wearing a sock in your hand, it gets you over that self-limiting belief, you see? That's what experiential learning does. Book learning? Yeah. Book learning, you retain 10%. Experiential learning, you retain 90. That's why we use experiences, and that's why there's 101 of them. So what shows up for you? You find a greater appreciation for your body. You realize that people that have disabilities, how challenging that life is for them, and you have more greater love for them. Okay? Those are the lessons that come up when you have to rely on strangers to do things for you. Maybe you pull dual limb day. What that means is you don't get to use either arm. Okay? That means throughout the 2 hours, you have to rely on people. I have to walk up to a stranger and say, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of a social media experiment and I'm learning how it is to feel without these two arms. I need your help. Would you mind opening my door for me? Okay? Because people don't like to ask for help because we're afraid to ask. That's a self limiting belief. Where did you lose your courage and why? What closed you up? So that's what we developed. We started 365 days ago, watching the sunrise come up and this magical technique that I learned. And out of it came a complete course in neuroscience, using this technique to rewire your brain. Okay. And then we created something called the equation life and abundant happiness. And what it is, it came from a near death experience. I drowned in my swimming pool. And when I came back, I got this knowledge. And I don't know, well, I do know where it came from, but it changed everything for me because I understood suddenly what was really important in life, and it was nothing that I was chasing. Nothing, nothing. And out of that came this understanding that the universe is organized by math. If I want to reach the sun, I need a mathematical equation to get there. And if you peel the entire world back to the smallest known thing that we know, it results in positive and negative. It goes back to polarity. Everything in life is positive and negative. And then there's this beautiful thing that came in between them called agency and the ability to choose. That's what we do as men, the ability to choose. Okay. So we learned through this that everything in life is made up of the same molecule. Everything is made up of the same thing, and everything is connected because it is. Okay. So ultimately, you learn that because we're all connected, that that the very thought of math used as an expression to live my life, that's what the equation of life and abundant happiness is. And it goes like this. We add the things in life that bring us goodness and joy and love. That is addition. That is the principle of addition. The next principle is subtraction, right? We have to let go of the things that don't serve us, that don't help us, that don't do us any good. My job in the equation of life and abundant happiness is to balance myself 24/7. So we teach awareness in my class. I have a very specific technique that I've used that I can teach somebody to. to be aware of where their thoughts are within 3 days. Within 3 days, you will become completely aware and you will realize how many people in this world are not paying attention because
Oh,
your
yeah.
attention is going to be hyper focused when I teach you awareness. Okay. That gives you an advantage over the rest of the world, too,
No.
right? Because you're paying
Yeah,
attention.
just paying attention.
All right. So the general idea is you have to balance your goodness. Okay. I got to add what I need. Maybe I got to subtract something. Maybe I need to add and subtract to complete balance. Okay. The goal is to become what we call net neutral. Okay. Because neutral is where abundant happiness lies. Neutral is that magical point where I'm not committed to anything. Okay. We can't stay positive forever because everything fades,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Everything fades. That's why you can't stay positive. That's why neutral is the right position. Okay. It does lean towards positive, but it's technically neutral, right? So you learn how to balance and live in that present moment and the magic of that. Okay. Once you do these exercises and your brain will convert in 3 days, right? If you go to my website, ispurelove.com, there's a video on there on my front page. Watch that video. Those are people that are experiencing this course, okay? And they're going out into the public. Look at their faces and look at the joy that you see in their faces from what they're experiencing. And it's the joy and the experience that converts your neural pathways. That's what neuroplasticity is, right? So when you're experiencing this goodness with people all over the world, you're converting those pathways. Okay. And when you do it long enough with this specific technique, it will convert those pathways to being positive. And then every single person that has taken my course, they get what I call this. It goes boop. Okay. There's a day on day 3, generally, where they experience something profound. It's profound. And most of them, I tell them to take a picture of themselves when they realize what they now understand.
And we're gonna
Okay.
make you get uncomfortable to get
Yep.
comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's how we learn.
Yeah.
Right.
So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So ultimately, the first time you go to put a negative thought through that neural pathways, which is now completely positive, it doesn't work. You can't put that negative thought through this brain that has literally been flooded with the most amazing feel good chemicals that God could give us.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the truth. So now I've got this light in my heart. And that comes from this technique. And once that light's in your heart, it starts directing to you to tell you what parts of your life aren't working, right? Now, we're two guys that we were both horribly sexually abused as children, and we lived very difficult lives with a lot of mental illness,
Yeah.
right? Very severe things, schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder,
Bipolar,
bipolar, yep,
self-mutilation,
self-mutilation,
eating
all of those
disorders.
things, the worst of the worst,
Yeah.
okay? We healed all of that with this technique,
Yeah.
all of it.
No more psychotropic drugs.
Nothing,
Yeah.
nothing, right? And that's what's amazing, right? Because you can literally heal the
Rewire your
human
brain.
being with this technique by
Yeah.
rewiring your brain, right? Because I've learned that all mental illness is really it's emotional dysregulation and it's happened in the brain and it comes from the past. But you can rewire the past with this technique.
All true.
It works every time. I've now taught it to 25 people, and 25 people have taken my course, and I got 25 people that are living greater lives. They're completely plugged in, that are aware, that are open, and they use this technique. The thing that's also unique about what we do is the technique is something that it becomes your anchor. See, most transformation programs fail, and I've tried many
Yeah.
of them. The reason they fail is because they don't have an anchor to keep you in the goodness. Okay, that's the truth. So I took an amazing course, and it affected me for about a year, I would say. I was rocking and rolling for about a year. It was an amazing course. But once again, I fell out of goodness. Why? Because my old self came back.
Mhm.
50 some odd years of living making negative choices will do that. And it's easy to fall back. So the key to transformation and permanency is actually in the anchor. What's the anchor? So if the program doesn't have an anchor, which means something I can rely on forever, then this transformation is temporary. That's
Yeah.
the truth, right?
Okay.
What I do is permanent, right? We call it transmutation. Why? Because I'm going to put that light in your heart. And when that light is in your heart, it's going to direct you to everything you need to do to fix your life. And you're going to understand that this light is here and it will stay there forever as long as you make good choices. When you make bad choices, the light goes away, right? So There's something called heart-brain coherence, and you were born with it as a child. When you study neuroscience and you really look and understand it, think about it. When you're a baby, you grow up by learning from your parents. You don't have words, so you're communicating with the mother through the heart.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
mother hears the child crying when she can't hear it, but the mother knows the child's crying. Why? Because she's communicating literally telepathically through the heart. That's that connection. But as we grow, we develop a brain with cognitive ability and we begin to speak. Well, as we learn to speak, eventually, what the words that come out from mama's mouth don't match her actions that are coming from her heart. So as children, we begin to struggle. Do I rely upon this heart connection, which is always taking care of me? Or do I rely upon these words that are now forming in my head, which I'm still trying to figure out, but it looks like I don't understand them? So over time, as a child, you disconnect. It happens somewhere between age 5 and 7. We quit listening to our heart and we move towards cognitive function. You see? So now we're living in our brain and we're using our brain to tell us, our cognitive thought instead of the one thing, which is actually the most powerful director in your life, which is your heart. So this technique opens your heart back up and it brings you back into heart brain coherence. When you have heart brain coherence, ultimately what you're going to find with this technique, your subconscious mind merges with your conscious mind. That's why you can heal everything because you now have access to everything. See, traditional therapy struggles. Why? Because the therapist has to get it out of you. Well, you got a subconscious mind and an amygdala that's going to filter what it wants to share because it's designed to protect you. So that's why therapy struggles. I did therapy. It's amazing. I wouldn't be alive was it not for my therapist. However, there's only so far a therapist can take you because your heart's not going to give it up. But with this technique, you heal from inside because it's going to come up. You can't miss it, right? And then you learn how to balance. So we add, we subtract. What happens next in an equation?
So
Multiply.
Yeah, you
Multiply. So what's multiplication about? Multiplication is about taking action with intention, okay? Recognizing that there's a higher power that will magnify and make it bigger, okay? So whether you believe in God or not, that's up to you,
Yeah.
okay? Some people do, some people don't. But what we teach doesn't matter, okay? This works if you're an atheist because the power of multiplication then is love. And we all know the power of love. So we must multiply. Okay. Now I've got a bigger pie. I want to keep going. What's the next operator in solving an algebraic equation? Division. So now I got to divide. I got to take that goodness and I got to share it back with my fellow man. And I have to practice the principle of abundance. And the principle of abundance says that I have everything that I need and a little bit more. And my heart tells me when I'm comfortable. Anything beyond abundant is excess. You don't need it. Give it away. Put it back into the world. That's what division is. Distribution back to the very people that gave it to you. You see, we're mired in greed. We don't need excessive wealth. We don't. We need what we need and a little bit more to feel safe. That's it. Okay? That's what abundant living is. So then at that point, you realize that the equal sign is gratitude. The equation of life and abundant happiness is based upon gratitude. Everything is rooted in gratitude. And it literally completely changes your life. It completely changed mine. I mean, I got a program now. I'm teaching people. I've created it. I'm putting it into business. And what is most amazing is watching people fly. Watching this man right here. He got his first job in how many years, Logan?
Over 25 years.
25 years he was on this system and disability, encumbered by $1,000 a month to live on. That was the life that he had. Okay. Now he has a job. Right.
And off all those drugs that the
All those
psychiatrists were
drugs.
pushing.
Right. So no, it's not. And the problem with the meds is, I like meds for a period of time.
Short term.
Sometimes you need it for short term. Long term, devastating. Because they tried medicating me and I was starting to get tardive dyskinesia. And I'm like, I'm not okay with this. I'm not going to be that guy with the mouth when I'm up here talking to you when my mouth's moving. I'm not okay with that.
Because of those drugs, I now have early onset of Parkinson's disease.
Right. So having taken those psychotropics for all those years has developed early onset Parkinson's for him. So he now has tremors from those drugs. Right. But the truth of it is that you can heal all of this naturally with this technique. It's just gratitude, and most importantly, experiential gratitude. That's not just gratitude, experiential. So that's the equation of life and abundant happiness. There's more pieces to it. I teach it in my workshop. I teach it to people that take my course, and I teach it to business. But in a nutshell, that's what it is. It's a system that once you adopt it, it kind of it layers into your belief system. And I think that's important. And I tell that to people that are watching my show is that it doesn't matter what you believe, it's going to magnify and elevate what you believe. And if you don't believe anything at all, that's okay. You will find love.
Yeah.
I promise you, you will find love in the most deepest of ways, right? So you will win. Everybody wins. And it's the thing today that can unite our country. If you think about it,
No, I don't disagree at all.
right? Because we've all moved to these polar left and a polar right. We're extremists, okay? And I was one of them as well. I'm equally guilty, right? I mean, I grew up in a Republican family and then eventually left Republican and kind of became an independent. And then I leaned towards the Democrat side. And then ultimately I realized that, look, in the end, we're being lied to by both sides. We're not getting the truth. So where's the truth lie? In the middle, which is neutral, which is where you want to live your life anyways. Okay, so I said to myself, I've been leaning too far right because the only thing I've been consuming has been CNN. So I'm only hearing that side of the story. Okay, well, that's not neutral living. That's not smart because they lie too. So then I'm not joking when I say to turn on Fox News was like killing me to turn it on, but I realized I was being stupid because I was only absorbing one channel of information. So then I started watching the other side and I started hearing things. I'm like, oh, these Democrats are not necessarily telling the truth. So where does the truth lie? In the middle. So the quickest way that we can bring this country together is with gratitude because it brings respect. You see, it's instant. As a Republican, I can respect your social policies as a liberal. As a liberal, I can respect your policies around fiscal conservatives and how you spend money. So somewhere in the middle is this magical point where the country used to work, where we worked together. There's no together anymore. We've gone so far to the extremes. You see? I'm not willing to even listen to you. You know why? Because you're an enemy now. You're an enemy. It's us versus them. The only way we can bring this country together is with gratitude because gratitude creates respect.
Well, we forgot the U part of United States, which is
Oh, really good. The
Yeah.
U part of the United States.
That's what we forgot.
Yeah. Brother, what is your name?
My name is Ben.
Ben. I'm Thane. It's nice to meet
I'm
you. This
Logan.
is Logan. That beautiful one back there is my wife, Joy. And you are? Lorena. It's nice to meet you. Thanks for stopping by this morning. So, it's been the most incredible journey for us on this.
That's amazing. And as you guys speak on it and I hear it,
Yeah.
and you bring up the medications, your past and everything. And, I'm a military veteran, so I served in the Army.
Thank you for serving.
You're welcome. So I mean, I understand going through emotional distress and
Mhm.
and getting out and trying to find my way, right?
Yeah.
And,
PTSD.
and
Yeah.
existing, figure out how to
Yeah.
exist again in a civilian world that I had lost touch with, right?
Right.
And then, I did the therapy, did
Yeah.
things like that, and like you said, temporary fix, like it works,
Right.
very, very
Yeah.
temporary. But I think I found my joy for me, and she gives me crap all the time for it, but is coaching. Coaching
Yeah.
is my way of giving back, and it's like you said, sometimes at the vision, right? So I added when I learned from my coach in the past, and all those things that he did that was so phenomenal through my childhood traumas and things to keep me safe.
Mhm.
I now am able to reciprocate the same.
Yeah, and isn't
create
it
the same-
amazing when you
yeah,
help another
yeah.
human being and you lift them up
Yes,
and the
yes.
feeling that you
It's,
get?
it's so good, and like she says, like well, sometimes you gotta get paid for coaching, because it's your time, right? And I tell her, I'm like, I've been doing it for free for so long that it's like for me, it's just knowing that I'm changing those lives.
It's what's worth it. I know. It's the
And-
same thing with me.
yeah.
I mean, I have a big price tag. If you want to take my course, it's a big price tag. Okay. But truth be told, here's the truth, right? I'll work with somebody. I won't work with them for free, and here's why. Because if there isn't any skin in the game, the amount of intention that they have in doing the exercises is not the same, right? So if if I say this is the price of my course, this is what I'm looking for, can you pay it? Great, pay it. But I'm more interested in fixing your life and helping you live abundantly than making a dollar. Okay. So what can you afford to pay? and then I need you to stretch it just a little beyond where you're comfortable. So if you said to me, well, all I got's $500, that's the most I got. And that's a stretch for me. That's going to be difficult. Okay, great. I'll do it for $500. Why? Because I want your commitment. If
Yeah.
it's free, you're not going to show up when I need you to be there. You're going to be like, it's just staying. I'm not paying anything. No, I don't do that. Right.
That's
So because my heart is in the right place,
Yeah.
I want to see people heal. You know what I mean? Would I do it for $1 if you were homeless? Yeah. Figure out a way to come up with $1. I'll help you. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where it came from. And just, I walked into the park one morning. I'm like, I'm gonna figure out this word gratitude. Go live on Instagram. I had no idea what I was doing. No idea. And then the second day, he showed up.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know when we're gonna watch these sunrises, but that's what we're doing. But I'm an expert at a sunrise, I can tell you that. And I know where the moon tracks. And I know, like, so the podcast that we have prepared for today is like the 10 things that we've learned. Right. And
That's a good thing to do for
yeah, yeah. So we're gonna go over the kind of the 10 things that have mean something to us. And then ultimately out of this, we're gonna take the podcast and start moving it around the city. So I'm gonna get a booth, nice pop-up booth, and we're gonna pop up in the parks around the city on a Saturday morning where there's people out. And we're also gonna have 2 live mics, and the live mic will allow people to come up and share with the world what they're thankful for. Okay, and then whenever they play, we'll have a camera on them. We'll clip it. We'll pull it into the show. So the idea,
We need that these days.
yes,
I
exactly.
think we're forgetting the gratefulness that we're receiving, and nobody's sharing it. Everybody's focused on, like you said, that left and that right now.
Uh-huh.
Which, if we go back to, like I said, that you and the United States and just unite, we'll become better. And it's hard to become better when our past is allowing us for every culture on both sides and every side to cloud us.
Yeah.
To cloud us from what great grandparents went through and things like that.
Right.
And it's like, time, yes, has gone by. Yes, you never forget, but you have to live to learn to move on in a positive way and say, you know what, I forgive those people for the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the best way to go about it as a country. And with your teachings, I feel like if you do things like that, you just have people randomly share love, share what they're grateful for.
Yeah.
You'll be shocked at what you say, like just that stranger. There's gonna be those random people that you say, "Well, I met somebody and this really did for me."
What's
And I
really
think you'll get those stories out.
Oh yeah, and what's amazing is when you do the experiences, again, you're working with the public, you're working it with the people that you work with. But the specific 3 days, so my course runs, so you're in gratitude for 3 days. Okay. You're gonna use one technique and you're doing nothing but that technique for 3 days. That is what is rewiring your neural pathways. Okay. Typically, day 2, day 3 depends on the person and how effective they are in the exercises. Their brain converts, they feel this, they know their neural pathways are positive. The minute they have a negative thought, it's like kryptonite. It is literally like kryptonite. You resist it. You're like, no, 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 I can't do that. Okay. So that happens in day 3. So then day 4 and 5, when I work with you, based upon how I see you showing up in the world from the exercise that I have assigned to you for the first 3 days, there's going to be some things that I see in your behavior, and I have specific cards and exercises that'll help you overcome that self-limiting behavior. Like let's say you struggle with body image. Okay, a lot of people struggle with how they look, right? I'm not pretty, I'm too heavy, I'm too skinny. Like we live in a world where we get picked apart. So I have specific exercises around body image because if you're not confident in how you look and feel, you're going to show up in the world something less than you could be. So I might say to you, I'm going to give you this card this day, and I want you to do it. Now, the other thing that I do is on the 2 days where I'm assigning random exercises to you, you have to take the exercise when I give it to you. Okay? Because real life is full of ups and downs and surprises.
Yeah.
So you need to know that on the 2 days, you are randomly get assigned things that are going to make you go, you want me to do what? Right now? That's right, because guess what? That's how life shows up. And this exercise is going to tell me and you how you show up when something happens that you're not prepared for. Because if you're smart, you know how to balance everything correctly. If you've learned this technique, you will not lose your crap. Right? We were former hotheads, man.
Yeah.
2 total Karens.
Yep.
Total Karens, man. I knew one emotion, and it was anger. And if you ask that beautiful woman over there, she would tell you that was my number one thing, right? So no, this has been the most amazing, most beautiful thing. The most grateful thing in my life has been this 365 days of celebrating the sun and living in gratitude. And out of that came that amazing technique,
And
which I
living
can
in the
now teach
present,
to
the
people.
here and now.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the here and now. So yeah, I can. I know if the minute I start talking about these 10 points, it's gonna make me weep. It'll make me cry because it's real for me.
Yeah.
It was real. This has been a 365 days. If you follow our shows and watch all the old episodes, which are quite funny actually on Instagram, the audio quality is terrible. Because we didn't again, it was just me and my friends. It was just me and Logan trying to figure this out.
We started in the middle of the park.
We did.
and
We were
then
just sitting out there in a blanket.
Yeah.
Sitting out there in a blanket and they're getting eaten up by the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
We learned that. This is critical. You gotta have. Oh yeah, I've got stock. I've got stock.
What are we doing ourselves
I've
right
got
now?
stock in SC Johnson because I've been buying their products, right? Yeah, and the owls.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen the owls here at the park?
Yeah.
So this morning, this is interesting. So the owls are very symbols for me, and in fact, what's interesting. So in my course in the equation life and abundant happiness, I use the symbolism. So it's not only the math itself; it's actually an equation. Okay,
Yes, absolutely.
and I use the symbolism of the butterfly converting from a caterpillar to a butterfly. Okay, and that's actually in the equation for personal transformation.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is, sadly enough, we live in a world where men feel threatened by feminine energy. Okay, and so to have a man say, "I've turned into a butterfly," most men are not comfortable with that, but which is kind of stupid. Okay. So I realized that in the business community, I can't use that as a metaphor because
Yeah.
it's because unfortunately men caught up in toxic masculinity are going to struggle with having a butterfly as a symbol,
Yeah.
which is dumb, but that's the truth. Okay.
That is
So
true.
about that time that I was working that, right, when the way inspiration works and the way the higher power works is, when you understand it, you learn how to manifest. It happens exactly like they say, right? And we have a specific process that we use to create anything we want in life. Logan, what is it? What is the right process? Those 4 words. Come on, you know the 4 B's.
Believe,
Mhm.
become,
Yep.
bestow, behalf.
Behold,
Behold.
behold. Those are the 4 words, and that is how you create anything through prayer or manifestation. You follow those 4 things, everything you could ever ask for in life will show up for you exactly, give or take a little bit,
Absolutely.
As it was
right?
meant to
Because
be.
that's the other thing. You got to let go of the outcome, right? You have to let go of the outcome. If you're creating something, you're praying for something, and you say that this is the only way I'm going to accept this, then guess what? You won't get it,
Yeah.
right? You have to
Absolutely.
know that at the end, what you want is what is best for you. Okay. And you got to let go of what you think is what's right for you and let God, the universe, whatever it is that you believe, bring you what you need at that time, because that is exactly what you need at that right moment. And when you learn to master the here and now, you learn to understand the power of that.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the here and now and you're not stuck in your past or stuck in your future, you get to see the magic of life happening in front of you. You see?
I like
That's
that.
what it's about. So I teach awareness, right? We use these little bracelets. Okay. And there's an interesting thing on this bracelet. You see that phrase right there? It says dare to be second. Okay. Because it is daring to live in gratitude. You have to know that I'm going to be in second place.
Second.
I'm
She
going to
gets
be.
upset because she said that should be more selfish. And I'm like, "What?"
So you have to dare. It takes courage. It takes courage to be in gratitude. Okay. So that's why the word dare. The number 2, because this specific technique always requires 2 people. Okay. Gratitude only works because it is a giving and a receiving. It takes 2. That's why the number 2. The word be is representative of the state of being in gratitude. I must be, okay? And it also implies the present moment, right? Then the last word is second. It has 2 meanings, right? Second, in the position that I'm in, okay? And it is also a reflection of time, 1 second, the here and now. So that is my motto, my mantra. That's what I tell people. And throughout my life, I can't tell you how many times I have to remind myself, dare to be second. I say it to myself all the time because unfortunately the old human still wants to resurrect and
Yeah,
be
wants to
first.
pop out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. But it's interesting, somebody said to me once, well, Thane, so what you're saying is I'm never going to be in first place. I said, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you adopt a framework of second place, you will become first.
Yeah,
You will become first, right? And that's what I'm teaching in this business course
I
is
love
is that, right? And teaching it to management. Because if management
that.
understands
Oh
this stuff,
God, if management
if
understood
management
that.
understood
If
this,
management
you
understood
know what I
that.
mean? So that's kind of why I created the program. So it's called Elevate, right? And ELAH is ELAH, which is short for the equation of life and abundant happiness.
Okay.
You see, and so that's why I have. If you go to my website, is
Yeah.
purelove.com,
No,
right?
definitely.
And then
Check
our,
it
our
out.
social media handles are, and we just started streaming. So we just moved to this new platform
Okay.
about a week ago when we
Okay.
started getting because we missed for about 30 days because we were having to rewire to get the website, all that stuff. And I'm not techie. I mean, I got
No,
to
that's
chat
understandable.
GPT everything, to figure it out. How do I link this streaming key to that streaming key? And
Oh
it's
yeah, you
it's
gotta find somebody for that.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I found somebody. I got a good friend that's helping me. He's helping me last
Perfect.
night. So, but yeah, so today we just, it's a big day for us and an emotional day, for me.
But it's a good emotion.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
good
for sure.
emotion. It's always
But the owls became the symbol for Elevate. Okay, because there's something extremely cool about these owls at the park. And what's interesting was this morning they were hooting for me. Okay, because when you live the equation of life in abundant happiness, there's this thing called glimmers. Okay, most of us live a life full of triggers.
yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
and the triggers are things that are negative from our subconscious mind that we see it reminds us of something,
Yep.
and then we feel it,
Yep.
and then it messes us up, doesn't it?
It does.
So it's a trigger. Okay, a glimmer is the exact opposite. And when you rewire your neural pathways to being positive and you see the world from a positive perspective, I'm no longer a victim,
Yeah.
right? Everything changes and we shift into a complete different reality. And then things start showing up differently. So the owl, when I came to the park, I suddenly realized that that was the symbol that I needed for the business program. Because the thing that an owl does, which is smart, is they just sit and watch,
They do.
right? They're
They do.
strong and silent and a fierce predator. Fierce predator. So the owl is now a symbol um, that I use in my program, and that came from this crazy park. Coincidence? No,
No, absolutely
no,
not.
that was a lesson that I needed to learn. Right,
At
and
the
so
time,
that's
at the
kind of
time that you need.
yeah. So this morning when I was walking to the park, I was thinking about what I was going to talk about, and I haven't seen the owls. They've been hiding. Sometimes they sit on the fences. I know where they hide. They hide on certain tops of lights. But
Yeah,
this
they do.
morning, what was interesting was like I come to the park at 3:30 in the morning before there's anybody here. And I have a dog that I walk off leash, so I don't like to be around other
No, I
dogs.
agree with that.
Yeah, so I come really early in the morning. But this morning as I was walking the park, I couldn't see the owls and I was disappointed. And then they started hooting and I started
Let you
hearing
know
them.
we're here.
Yep. And I'm like, okay, that was that sign. That is the glimmer that you're walking the right path.
And it's funny that you
Right?
mentioned that because I heard them as I was setting up the
Yeah.
table this
You,
morning.
you heard them starting
Yeah.
to call each
I'm
other.
like, what is that?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just been the craziest, funnest ride,
Yeah.
most amazing ride. But I appreciate you
Yes,
stopping by
I
this
will
morning.
stop by.
Ben,
Yes.
look us up.
Hey,
It's
congratulations. I
purelove.com.
would definitely look you guys up.
Follow
And
us.
more many years to come.
Comment,
More
like,
many years to
share.
come.
And if you want to learn more about my program, seriously, email me. You
Absolutely.
seem like
And
an
please
amazing
grab a
man.
donut
Thank
and
you
some
so much.
juice
Yeah, take
and-
some
Thank
fun.
you, Cowboy.
Thank you
Yes,
for your
you. God
time
bless you.
this
Yes,
morning.
keep doing what
You guys
Thank
be
you.
blessed. Yeah,
Have
help yourself.
donut,
Get some
juice.
get some stuff.
Like fighting it.
All right. So I want to talk about the 10 things
Mhm.
that are the most important, right? So here's the first one. Neuroscience is real.
Yeah.
You can rewire your brain. I didn't believe that. I had never heard of anything around that, but you 100% can rewire your brain. So the key idea is that the human brain is not fixed. And through neuroplasticity, we can rewire our brains, and gratitude is one of the most powerful tools to do it.
Mhm.
You want to come join us, honey? Yeah. Come sit over here so your voice gets picked up in the mic.
Our second guest today
Is the most
Joy
amazing. Wait,
Martin.
she has to come join the picture. You got to get in the camera, babe. People got to know. I talk about you all the
All
time.
right. Here we go.
This is the most illustrious, incredibly beautiful Mrs. Joy Martin, who has been with me along this journey when I'm waking up at 3:30 in the morning while she's trying to
Round
sleep,
of
and I'm
applause.
turning on, round of applause, massive round of applause for Joy's support of our podcast and helping Logan and all these things that we do. So I'm glad that you're joining us at the table. So getting back to neuroscience, Dr. Andrew Huberman, somebody that I really, really enjoy studying and follow him online. He's a Stanford neuroscientist and has shared multiple study after study after study that shows that gratitude actually does change your brain, boosting serotonin and dopamine while calming the amygdala. So that is real. That is one of the things that I learned. And absolutely, the most important thing I've learned is that gratitude can completely rewire and become a framework for your entire life.
Mhm.
And that's the truth.
That is true.
And then you
Yeah.
live abundant. You live abundant.
Absolutely.
All right. Neuroscience is real. This rewiring starts with one essential thing: awareness, because you can't change what you don't notice. That leads to the second point: awareness. That is the first step to emotional intelligence, because awareness creates a space to respond instead of react. Without it, emotions drive us. Our subconscious drives our behavior, but with it, we master our choices. Now, there was a book by Daniel Goleman, first major book on emotional intelligence, and he calls self awareness the foundation of all emotional growth. One thing that we've learned: watching a sunrise trains awareness.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The sky changes very quickly. And if you're distracted, you miss it. How many times have we said that in watching the sun come up
Yeah.
and seeing the clouds change from that salmon pink to that purple? And it happens in about 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So if you're not paying attention and you're not aware, you're going to miss some of the most important things in life. And one of the things that we learned is the power of now, right? That is from Eckhart Tolle. Awareness is the greatest agent of change. So in order to do that, I need to learn how to stay out of my brain.
Yeah.
I got to get out of my past and that poor, crappy self-talk,
Yeah.
or become obsessed with my future that I can't control. And I have to stay present in the here and now where the magic happens. So to do that, I need to learn how to become aware. And in my course that we offer at itspurelove.com, that course is Gratitude Entanglement, Personal Transformation. In that course, we have some techniques we're going to teach you that will bring you to awareness. Okay. I'm going to train you. That sounds funny, but it's the same. It's kind of like training a dog.
Yeah.
It's habit based. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a little technique that's going to teach you to be aware. And it's an amazing technique, and it actually works, doesn't it?
It does.
And
Yep.
and it's something that you'll use the rest of your life to
Yeah.
maintain your awareness. So awareness is the power of now. So when awareness grows, we discover that real happiness doesn't come from chasing highs or avoiding lows. It comes from finding balance in neutral, the center. Okay, next point: abundant happiness lies in the neutral position. You see, in the equation of life and abundant happiness, neutrality is balance. It's the still point where peace and abundance are found. We know there are three positions in life: net negative, some of my situation is negative;
Yep.
net positive, the sum of the existing situation is positive; or net neutral. I'm neither this or that. I'm in that perfect magical space where that magic happens, the here and now. That happens when we are in neutral. So, you want to live an abundantly happy life? You learn to live neutral.
Yes.
Okay, extremely important. Thomas Merton, who is actually a monk, wrote this quote: happiness is not a matter of intensity, but of balance,
Mhm.
order, rhythm, and harmony.
Yeah.
So, an example: a swing reaches extreme highs and lows, but the strongest point where it stops swinging is neutral,
Yeah.
right? And life, happiness works the same way.
Yeah.
Okay. So, neutrality has allowed you to stay grounded through emotional highs. For me, it was like creating these workshops. And the lows, we definitely had some setbacks. If you follow our podcast, you know when we were having some tough days because we shared it.
Because we're human.
because we're human.
Yeah.
That's right. So neutrality is where we need to be. Gratitude is the anchor that holds us steady in that neutral position. And we learn with this technique that through the rest of our lives, we engage this technique to maintain our neutral center and our emotional balance. So we find out that gratitude is actually the spark and the fuel for everything. It's both the beginning and the continuation of abundant living. It happens through gratitude.
Yeah.
Because when you live in second place and you dare to be second, your life works perfectly, doesn't it?
It does.
It really does. And when
Completely.
you find your ego stepping in,
Mm-hmm.
right, you notice you kind of disconnect from things.
So,
When
yeah.
the ego starts showing up in your life, you start making dumb choices.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So gratitude is both the match that lights the fire and steady flame that keeps it alive. Truth. Saying thank you to a partner not only sparks connection in the moment, but fuels that relationship for years.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that, right? And understand that right now, that is the only way we're going to heal this country. We're so divided left and right, and the only way we're going to get to the middle is when we start absorbing both sides.
Yeah.
So that's my best advice to you in a country is if you lean left and you lean right, you need to listen to both because the truth is in the middle.
Yes.
The truth is in the middle. Now you can still hold on to your belief system. You can still lean liberal and you can still lean Republican. That's your choice. But you owe yourself to at least listen because if you're just absorbing one side, you're being lied to. And if you absorb the other side, you're being lied to. Your job as an American is to find the truth. And the truth lies in neutral. And we can get to neutral with one word gratitude. That's why we got to start a gratitude rebellion.
Yeah.
That's what I talk about on this show. We got to put gratitude everywhere. And if we do that, we can fix this world. We can fix this divide with gratitude. All right. But gratitude doesn't mean life will always feel easy. Sometimes lessons come disguised as struggles, don't they?
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next point. Point number 5. Negative events are learning lessons. Life isn't punishing us, right? Because of all the bad things that happened to us as children, we adopted a victim perspective. And sadly, most people live life as a victim,
Mm-hmm.
blaming God, blaming people, blaming everybody but themselves for the choices that they make.
Yeah.
And they live a victim perspective, and that's how they show up.
That's how they show their
That
cards.
is the shame and the blame game.
Yep.
And that's where that comes from. When the reality is simply this: every negative thing that happens in your life is designed to do only one thing: teach.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You're not being punished. Have you made choices that have led you to this current situation? Perhaps, but you're not being punished. What you have is an opportunity to learn. You see, when you adopt the victim story, you take that negative perspective into your future and you project it onto everything in the future, which is why you get stuck and you can't get out of it.
Yeah.
Truth. Okay, so the negative events, I looked at my whole life, Logan, and and all I did my whole time, I blamed God, I blamed the world, I blamed everything that had happened to me, and I lived the victim story. And so did you.
I did.
You showed up as a victim.
I blamed everyone
Yeah.
other than myself.
Yes. And then through this experience
Mm-hmm.
and through gratitude, we learn to completely rewire brains and change how we think and change how we show up in the world. And we now realize that the ugly things that happened to you and me,
Mm-hmm.
being abused by pedophiles, was that the ugliest thing was actually the best possible outcome.
Yeah.
Truth, right? Because we're still here.
Yeah.
We're alive. We shouldn't be, but we are.
They're teaching moments.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So all negativity is anything that happens in your life that is negative. You're not being punished. You got to learn something.
Yeah.
So if you make a dumb mistake and you do something that you shouldn't, and maybe you step outside of the rules, what did you learn from it?
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
And if you keep making the same mistake,
And if you did some
haven't
wrongs
learned
to
it
people,
yet.
then you need to make them right.
Yeah.
And your heart will tell you what that needs to be.
That's true.
Okay? But you got to make it right before you can move on.
Mm-hmm.
You got to let that negative energy go.
Yep.
can't carry your crap. You gotta let it go. I was like, I felt like I was carrying probably 20 suitcases. That's how heavy my life was from all the trauma and the things that I had absorbed and adored, and the blame, the shame game that I adopted.
Yeah.
But now those 20 bags are stacked underneath me.
Mm.
Okay. And I stand on those because I'm proud of my life experience. It's different from what other people have experienced.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for me, I'm proud of that. And I can embrace the fact that, you know, can I say I'm glad that I was abused as a child? I don't know that I could say I was glad,
Yeah.
but I am grateful.
Yeah.
You see, I'm grateful because
It
out
sounds
of that,
strange, but it's
yeah,
true.
out of that came all these learning lessons.
Yeah.
And now look what I'm doing with my life now.
Yep.
I'm helping people change
Mhm.
and climb back up. And I'm an alternative to healing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not saying, look, here's the reality. If you want to fix your life and you're struggling with mental health issues, you're going to want to engage the professionals.
Yeah.
You're going to want to have a therapist.
Mhm.
You're going to want to have a psychologist, and you may need a psychiatrist if you need some medication.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're going to need something else. Okay? You're going to need something else because I tried every single one of them, and they are all very, very important.
Something more
As
rooted.
I said earlier, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my therapist
Mhm.
who used a technique called EMDR, which I highly recommend, to help me uncover what had happened to me in my past because I had no memory of it.
Yeah.
None. No memory of it. So out of that came that growth, but I needed a therapist to help me find it.
Mhm.
And then we realized that, some of my challenges were a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And I needed a psychologist.
Yep.
Needed someone with a little bit more information. Then ultimately went a little bit further. And we got a psychiatrist. So ultimately, morning, Gene.
Morning.
Have a donut if you're hungry. Okay, it's
Okay.
good to see you. Okay. So I realized at point number 5 that negative life events are just simply that,
Yeah.
learning lessons. And once you let go of the victim story, life becomes so much easier.
Yeah.
You know
It
what I mean?
does.
Because then when the bad things that happen, you're laughing at them instead of, punishing yourself.
Yeah.
So now when something bad happens, I'm like, oh, well, that's going to be a hell of a fun learning lesson. But I laugh at it instead of playing victim
Yeah.
or showing up angry, which was my dominant behavior. An example of that, a negative life lesson, losing a job. So instead of being a punishment, it can be the push towards discovering your true calling. I would say that's kind of the case with this, with
Mhm.
me,
Yeah.
because I opened the food truck, I was successful, but I realized that it was a lot of work, and for the amount of money I was making, it wasn't worth it to me. So I let it go. But I realized that I also didn't belong in corporate America anymore. I needed to do my own thing.
Mm.
And thankfully, been in a place that I can do that, and I'm super grateful for that. And so I've spent the last year without a job, writing, working,
Creating.
creating,
Yeah.
getting quiet,
Yeah.
letting things come to me. I mean, this whole year has been about learning for me. So the year's challenges, like personal doubts or obstacles to teach the equation of life happiness, were actually the stepping stones to where we're at today,
Mhm.
which is interesting, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the next thing is rhythm, because life had a rhythm to it. And that's one of the next learning. A wave-like pattern we're meant to ride, not fight. I'm going to say that again. Life has a rhythm to it. A wave-like pattern we're meant to ride, not fight.
Yeah.
So one of the things we've learned is that everything in life comes in waves and rhythm.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is if you go back, from my near death experience, everything is vibrating. Everything, even the table is vibrating. We can't feel it, but if you zoomed into those atoms, you would see that around those atoms, there's a vibration happening. And those vibrations result in things materializing.
Mhm.
And that's how we have wood and metal and all these things. It's all these different atoms that form together under certain situations to create things. So if you understand that, then you also understand that if everything comes in waves, a wave has a form. It has an up and it has a down. Okay. And there's something called frequency, which is how often the wave cycles in a minute.
Right.
Okay. A low frequency is a low wave. It's not high and it doesn't come quickly. That's what bass notes are in music. It's the bass. Higher notes are the higher frequency, more revolutions per second, higher. Okay. So ultimately, though, that wave has an upside and a downside. So does everything in life.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we've learned and we teach on my course is how to track the waves. And what I mean by that is every piece of your life has a wave. You have a wave in your professional career. You have a wave with your relationships with your family. You have waves in everything. You pick what you want to analyze. Start charting your happiness on a daily basis and the things that you want to track and assign a score to it. Keep track of it. And what you will see over time is that a wave will form.
Yeah.
It comes in time, and you will see it will become a regular pattern because everything comes in waves. So the key to understanding the wave is learning when not to push.
Yeah.
Most important thing that I learned in managing the wave and rhythm is when to recognize when to not push.
Mm.
Because most people, here's the thing, think about it, right? Nothing can go up forever.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Right.
Nothing. Stock market, perfect example.
Yeah.
Everything has a delay and that is gonna come down. So the key is to master when you're at the top of the wave so that you don't ride the downside because you don't have to. You can actually shorten the downside when you ride at the top of the wave. And here's what I mean by that. You see, we use glimmers as a way of showing us that we're walking in alignment with our purpose in life and we are perfectly balanced. When we do that correctly, there are signs all over from life that are glimmers. They may be a little sign from you, maybe it's a door that opens, maybe it's a phone call that you get from left field that suddenly has amazing news for you. Those are called glimmers. And when you're walking a balanced life and one of perfection, you will see glimmers everywhere. Now, sometimes the wave changes its form and it's going to start turning. We've already peaked the top of the wave. And one of the things that happens is you start to notice the glimmers slow down or the glimmers disappear. That is when most people, and I was one of them, would begin pushing because I must be doing something wrong. And so the idea is I need to push, push, push. And so then I would get very busy, busy, busy. And then because I'm so busy, I missed the very thing that I needed because I was pushing, creating something when what I really needed to do was wait. Good morning, gentlemen. Help
Morning.
yourself to some donuts and some punch if you're hungry. Sounds great. All right. Have a good morning, gentlemen. Okay. So you learn to recognize and use these glimmers as an indicator where you're at in the wave so that you're not pushing when you don't have to. Because if you're pushing when you don't have to, you're going to be so busy, you're not going to see the very thing that you need to be seeing.
Yeah.
You see? So the key is to learn how to manage that wave and where you're at on that wave. And you can actually shorten the downward cycle of the wave by disconnecting at the appropriate time and staying in belief.
Yes.
You have to stay in belief. You can't let go of that.
Yep.
So when you understand that life is kind of on the downward side right now, and I don't understand because everything is working correctly. If everything is working correctly, then this just means that this is a natural side of the wave. I haven't done anything wrong. I don't need to make a correction in my life.
Yeah.
This is just a natural wave. So I'm going to be quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have faith, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to have trust that the outcome will be exactly what the universe, God, whatever it is that you believe will provide for me. Because that's the one thing you learn with the equation of life and abundant happiness. When you live in the here and now, everything comes to you exactly when you need it. And if you trust that, that's exactly how it happens.
Yeah.
But when you don't trust that, it does not. And you fall out of it and you can't create it. That's the truth. You have to have. You can't hold on to the outcome. You have to let it go. You can encourage what you want it to be. You can manifest that, pray that. However, you have to let go of the outcome. And when you let go of the outcome and you're open to the fact that you will get what you need, then you will get exactly, most likely, what it is you're looking for. But first, you have to have that faith.
Yeah.
You have to believe that it will come.
Yeah.
All right. Everything comes in waves and rhythm. Herbert Benson, Harvard cardiologist, studied how aligning with natural rhythms reduces stress, interesting, and boosts well-being. So for us, the sunrise rituals reflect this, don't it? Every day that light returns and every wave recedes and returns.
Yes.
And when we align ourselves with these rhythms, we can amplify creation through the practice of prayer and manifestation. Now, like we've said from the beginning on our podcast, is that we embrace everybody's religion and every belief system and every framework, and they're all correct, right?
Yeah.
Everybody chooses the path to
Whatever works for
return to
them.
what they consider to be glory.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and that's what's great about what we do, because we don't care what
Mhm.
religion you are. We certainly have our beliefs
Yeah.
and things, for me as well, from my near-death experience that has led to all of this work. But nonetheless, we have learned on the equation line and abundant happiness is point 7 that prayer and manifestation is real.
Yeah.
And it does work when you follow the right order.
Mhm.
And the right order is 4 words that we learned recently this week with Logan: believe,
Believe,
become,
become,
bestow,
bestow,
behold.
behold.
We first must believe wholeheartedly in our soul.
Mhm.
Because if I don't believe, it ain't coming.
Yep.
You're not going to get it if you don't truly believe. So, believe is the first step. The second step is become. Why become? Because you must embody it now. If you want to change your life, if you want something in the future, you have to act today that you have it. You
Yeah.
don't wait for it to arrive. That's the worst mistake.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to attract a new spouse, like I said to you,
Yeah.
you're looking to find a beautiful woman to marry.
Yep.
Okay. So I told you the first thing you need to do is act like you're married
Yeah.
and believe that you're married and
Yep.
believe that wife is out there looking for you just like you're looking for her.
Yep.
So I do believe,
Yep.
right? And I'm putting myself in that situation where I become. I'm a husband. You have to do that first.
Yeah.
Then the next step is bestow. What does bestow mean? It means it's given to you.
Right.
It comes from the world. It comes from God. It is given to you because you believe and you embodied and you became and you put your action and your intention and you showed the world, you showed God what you were trying to do, and therefore you get
Mhm.
what you have asked for
Yeah.
when you let go of the outcome.
Yeah.
That is, again, the most important thing. You know, what I need is what's best for me. This is kind of what I want, right?
Yeah.
But at the end, I'm going to be happy with what you give me.
Yes.
Then is behold,
Mhm.
which is gratitude. It's
Yeah.
being grateful. It's saying, behold, look what I've created.
Yeah.
Look what was given to me. And I am thankful for what I have.
Yep.
And then we jump back in and we do it again.
Mhm.
And that's the loop. So it is real and it absolutely works. Joe Dispenza, one of my somebody I highly respect, breaking the habit of being yourself links thought and emotion to reality through brain changes. That's what we do with neuroscience,
Yeah.
right? We change your brain using experiential learning that rewires how you think with new positive neural pathways. All right, here's a great quote from Dr. Martin Luther King. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase.
Mm.
Okay? And gratitude has shown us something else, that the world is still full of good people. So, point 8 that we learned in the last 365 days is that good people still exist.
Yeah. One of them showed up at our table today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I know I've seen Ben walk by,
Yeah.
but he's never stopped in to talk to us,
Yeah.
but he did today.
Yeah.
Right? And what an amazing young man.
Yeah.
And you could tell from his demeanor that he walks a goodly life and his significant other does as well. And how beautiful is that?
That is beautiful.
And the one thing that we learned, because we've learned through experiential learning, when you take my class, you're going to be working with your family and friends, but you're also going to be interacting with the public.
Yeah.
You're going to be
Yeah.
working with strangers.
Yeah.
Yep. And in working with strangers, you're going to meet some of the most amazing people in the world. When we're working from our authentic selves and we're operating from our hearts in goodness, the
Mhm.
world's going to show you all kinds of amazing people that I used to think weren't out there. And right now, I think one of the most important things to realize is in this very, very toxic, divided world that we're in,
Mhm.
there are still good people out there.
There is.
And we
Yeah.
can still find them.
They're
And
far
we
and
can
few in
find
between.
them with gratitude.
Yeah.
We can find them with gratitude. And again, gratitude is how we're going to unite this world,
Mhm.
because gratitude equals respect.
Yeah.
Gratitude equals respect. And I can create instant respect with my enemy by using gratitude. And that is true. And that is exactly what we're going to have to do to heal this country. That's why it's so important that you like, follow, comment, and share this show, because
Mhm.
we are wired in gratitude. And you and I, we are the resident experts on
Yes.
this specific technique.
Yes.
Very specific. So when you dare to look through the lens of gratitude, you will always find humanity staring back.
Yeah,
That's true.
that is true.
And many of those good people have been right in our own neighborhood. Logan, think of all the amazing people that have touched your life
Yeah.
from the gratitude that you created in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think of that gentleman and his wife that are paying your medical bills.
Yeah.
And you met them
Through gratitude.
through gratitude.
They overheard a conversation I was having.
That's right. So you don't have insurance right now, and you've
Yep.
been to the hospital a number of times, been in
Yep.
the ER, and we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And these people, out of the goodness of their heart, because they love you, because you love them unconditionally,
Yep.
they're paying your hospital bill.
They're taking care of
How
you.
amazing and beautiful is that? So
Yeah.
I'm going to give a shout out to you, John and Ellen. I thank you for loving this man.
Mhm.
Thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. I love you. I appreciate you supporting him. You have another friend, Bobby,
Yeah.
another guy that you met through gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Bobby has turned out to be an amazing little friend,
Yeah.
hasn't he?
Yeah.
And you've been struggling with insomnia from the Huntington disease that you have,
Yep.
and you've been struggling to sleep. And I know the past like 35 days you were awake,
Yeah.
right? And then interestingly, there's been some things that have been changing in you. One of them was you were reconnecting,
Yeah.
right? Because you disconnected.
Yeah.
I disconnected and you disconnected.
We all do it.
We're all human
humans.
beings.
Yeah,
That's
we are.
exactly right.
Yeah.
And we're not perfect either.
Yeah.
So you disconnected.
Yep.
I worked with you. We reconnected you.
Yep.
Okay. Then out of nowhere, your friend Bobby shows up with some medication.
Yeah.
And he says, "Hey, Logan, I got this from my homeopathic doctor. Try this and see if this will help you."
He just texted me the other day. He's like, I
Yeah.
have a present for you, and
Yeah.
showed me a screenshot.
Yeah. And ultimately, it was CBD.
Yeah.
So you've been awake for over 30 days,
Yeah.
not sleeping at all, not 1 hour, not 1 minute, nothing,
Yep.
because of the Huntington's disease.
Yep.
Okay. And then you got this CBD oil and you
Yeah.
started taking it.
Yeah.
And that night, you got your first sleep in over
Slept like a baby.
35 days.
Yeah.
Okay. That CBD oil is clearly part of your solution,
It
part of
is,
your answer.
yeah.
And where did it come from?
Bobby. Through
Bobby,
gratitude.
through gratitude. So
Yeah.
once again, gratitude is providing the solution to help you with your health.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you see how gratitude works?
Yep.
When we create gratitude in our community, with our friends, with our family, the whole world opens up.
Yeah.
And that's what we need more than anything right now.
And 2 nights so far of
Yeah.
beautiful sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you've been taking the CBD now for two nights or no, 3 nights.
Yeah, 3 nights.
3 nights in a
yeah.
row. And
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
slept all 3 nights.
I
And
have,
prior
yeah.
to not taking that CBD, you
I
were
was
awake
up.
for 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you, that's the most loneliest feeling in the middle of the night when everyone
Oh my
else is
gosh.
asleep and
Yeah.
you can't text or call anyone and you're just in your own little world. And
All right. This next point is that the many good people live right here in our neighborhood.
Mhm.
So the personal lessons from the year on this particular bullet point, neighbors and dogs,
yeah.
right? We realized that showing up here at this park as many days as we've been here, which is at least 275 plus, and on the days we weren't at the park, we were still getting up, but just not at the park due to rain or I was traveling or whatnot.
Yep.
But interestingly, the community that we've built, you
Mhm.
notice sitting at this table, I've been waving and saying hello to people. I said
Yeah.
hello to Gene, we have Don, we have
Yeah.
Mike, we have
Ben.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
all these people that we've met, Carmen and Gloria.
Mhm.
You know, you call her cat lady.
Oh,
Mai. Yeah, Mai.
Yeah.
Because she walks the park like a cat.
Yeah.
Like she's
Very
and she's
feline-like.
beautiful. She's such
Yeah.
a wonderful woman. She's
Yep.
so kind. And Sharon, my
Mhm.
friend that I meet, usually walking down that path, I walk with Sharon. We get to the park,
We
and
gotta give
that's
a
another
shout out to
neighbor.
Bruce and Shauna.
Bruce and
Yeah,
Shauna,
they're
yeah,
regulars.
regulars that we
Yep.
see every morning in the park, and their dog Moose.
Mhm.
So you
And
see,
Cisco and
Cisco
Naya.
and Naya, the dogs that belong to Don. And we've
Yep.
met his wife.
Yep.
And we also got Doc, our
Yeah.
friend who is into Hare Krishna.
Yep.
And if you watch our episodes, you've seen Doc in some
Yep.
of our episodes, and we love him and we appreciate him and the goodness that he's represented. So you see all this community that came
Yeah.
out of this, and
Yeah.
all the friends that we're talking about
And
here.
when we're not here, we're
Yeah.
missed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They notice when we're not
Yeah.
here. They're going to notice that this is our last episode, which is
Yeah.
why we did this.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So, community. The
Yeah.
next one, sun and moon tracking.
Mhm.
When we first started the park, we were in the middle of the field and we knew where the sun would rise.
Yeah.
And when you watch the sunrise every day, you eventually realize that it moves. Like I
Mhm.
knew that the sun moved, but I never
Yeah.
really understood the trajectory at which it went.
And how quickly it moves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I understand the complete trajectory of the sun
Mhm.
as it goes. And I've become an expert at sunrises and cloud formation.
Yeah.
right? And I celebrate, especially when we have clouds. I love my sunny. I love sunny, but even on a sunny sunrise when there's no clouds in the sky,
Yeah.
it's still different, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it
Because
is.
it's in a different position.
But different is good though.
Different is good, and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing. So each sunrise has been unique, each one different, and it's had a message for me every day.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have we looked in that sunrise and felt like we got a message, a download, an extra pat on the back, a shot of love
Yeah.
from the world,
That hidden
from watching that
message.
sunrise? Yeah, it's been amazing. And they're all so unique. They really
Yeah.
are, and stunning. Like,
Yeah.
that's what started this whole thing was a photograph.
Yeah.
I took a photograph one morning because the sky was gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to my website, you can see that photograph. It's
Yeah.
actually on there. And it says, there's a picture and it says, what are you thankful for?
Yeah.
That's what started this,
Yeah.
was that photograph that I took that one day when I realized that sunrise was so pretty. And then I walked into the park the next day and I said, I'm going to figure out what's going on with this gratitude thing.
Yeah.
And we started this rebellion. All right. So rising early.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that by getting up early in the morning, I've learned a lot of things. Number one, I love my silence.
Yeah.
I love getting up in the morning and getting my own time.
Mm-hmm.
I get up early, 3:30 in the morning. I walk my dog for a good 45 minutes with Pickles. I go back to the house. I put the pot stuff to, gear together, and I pull all the stuff together. But ultimately, um, it's led to greater productivity.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
get so much done. By
Yeah.
noon, I've done what more people have done. I'm pretty much done by noon, but being a solopreneur and creating something, I find myself working really long hours.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I'm abundantly happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind putting in the hours because I'm creating something to help people
Yeah.
and to help mankind.
Yes.
So I don't mind putting in that long hours and creating something and doing something and fighting my naysayers and whatnot, because I believe.
Yeah.
And I believe in the work and I believe in the goodness that still exists in every human being and in this world. And we can save it and we can unite it with gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
So without a doubt, rising early, I'll continue. Even though I may not get up tomorrow morning, I may not. I'm probably going to sleep in tomorrow. And I know that sounds funny to say that, but I've been awake since 3:30 in the morning for
You thought you were
365
gonna sleep
days.
in this morning, and you
I
still
know.
woke up at
I did.
3:30.
I said I was going to wake. I said this morning I'm not going to walk the dog and I'm going to get to the park at 4:30 instead of 3:30. And I still woke up at 3:30. Why? Because it's a habit.
It's habit now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I do go to bed early, which
Yeah.
kind of sucks sometimes. I'm usually in bed by 8 o'clock, usually asleep by 9. But when you're getting up at 3:30 in the morning, you
Yeah.
can't stay up till midnight.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't have been up till midnight anyways, because when you're up that late, generally you're not getting into good things.
Yeah.
You're getting into trouble. So I like waking up early now, and I love that, and I appreciate that habit that's coming to me. All right, next one: the owls in the park.
Mm-hmm.
The owls that showed up one day when I was walking the dog, and suddenly Pickles went on point, and he started looking, and he just stopped in his tracks, and then right there on the fence, 7 feet away from me, was this absolutely gigantic, majestic, great horned owl, and he just stood there and looked at me. It was so amazing that morning. I'd never seen the owls. I had seen one in my tree about 10 years ago, but I didn't know they were here at the park.
I didn't know until you pointed it out to me.
Yeah. And it was amazing
It is amazing
to feel them,
Yeah.
the presence that they bring,
Yeah.
and the trees. This program has taught me to truly love Mother Nature and animals and trees and the grass and the bugs. I appreciate all of that more.
They all have a
I
story
have
to
a
tell.
very, very deep relationship today
Mhm.
with the earth
Yeah.
and the environment and the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the owls above all have been very symbolic for me.
Mhm.
Like I said this morning when I was walking to the park, I said to myself, "It's been a while since I've seen the owls. Haven't seen them for at least a week. Haven't seen one." And then this morning, I was just a little bit disappointed because I couldn't find one.
Mhm.
But then I think they knew that I was looking for them, and they started hooting.
Yeah.
And I could hear them from different parts of the park like they do. And I felt like they were singing for me because they knew that today was an important day of completing 365 days of waking up for every sunrise
I
and
heard them this
celebrating
morning
gratitude.
about setting up
Yeah,
the table.
you did,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
it touched your heart, didn't
It
it?
did.
Those
Yeah.
owls have meaning. That's why in my course, The Equation Life and Abundant Happiness, so we teach it. So Gratitude Entanglement Personal Transformation is the course that I created for personal transformation, which you can do one-on-one, or I can put a class together in a group and we can all do it together. So
Mhm.
if you wanted to do a family or a group of friends, we could do that, and we could also negotiate a group price if you wanted to do that. And then ultimately, though, um, the owl is the symbol for the business course.
Yeah.
And I love the symbolism of the owl because one thing that I struggled with uh, is being sometimes too far outside. In other words, sharing more than I should, um, learning to pull it in a little bit.
Yeah.
There are some things that you don't need to share. And there are some things, especially strategies and things which you're using that you definitely don't want to share. So one of the lessons I learned from the owls was sometimes silence is gold.
Yeah, that's
And I
true.
appreciate the wisdom of the owl, and I love the veracity of which they get their prey. Like it's an amazing animal, and I'm fascinated with them, and I'm grateful for them. Is those owls? So, interesting quote. This is from Rumi, a Persian poet and mystic. The morning breeze has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a great one. So all of this has left us with a deep sense of gratitude for life, for each other, for our families, and for our friends. So I realized that um, feeling lucky is actually recognizing abundance versus scarcity.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're feeling luck, it's abundant, and that's because you're walking in alignment and life is working for you. And that's why things are just magically falling in. Well, imagine living a lucky life your entire life every day, because that's how I live. And you live that way when you live the equation of life and abundant happiness, and you put gratitude first, and you dare to be second. Everything in life makes sense, complete sense. Next thing, the unwavering support that I have found from family and friends. Um, my beautiful wife, who is sitting next to you, Logan, who is over there.
Hello.
Honey, I just want to tell you how much I love you and how grateful that I am for your support of me over this past year and putting this show together and getting up every morning. And I know I think you would be lying if you said you hadn't had your doubts, but you've supported me, and I appreciate that. And you've also seen the change in me, in the change in me. So would you share your thoughts on that? Would you mind
About what,
sitting
the
in the middle?
transformation or
Yeah,
what?
I just want people to hear what you've noticed in the changes in us. And if you wouldn't mind joining, that would be great. But what have you noticed in me, and what have you noticed in Logan? And then ultimately, you took the course yourself.
Mhm.
And I'd love for you to share what you learned.
Okay. What? Don't wanna come on the spot. All
You
right.
you
Well,
are on the spot.
huge change that I noticed in both of you. Um, Logan, when we were, when we first started hanging out together, you were always very quiet. Um, waited, just kind of were there, you know. And you would engage and tell your funny jokes and stuff. Um, but once you started taking the course, you really became part of what we were doing. You weren't always just sitting on the outside waiting for us to engage with you. You initiated it, and
Mhm.
you just like I just remember the first time I was like, "Wow." I think you were talking to one of our grandsons, and you were telling him, "Oh, you can't do that." I was like, "Dang, you wouldn't believe what Logan did today."
Yeah.
I remember that vividly.
And so it's like you were becoming part of our family, like an interactive part. Yeah,
Mhm.
so
Thank you.
that's
Thank you.
always
You're so
been
sweet.
great. Oh, thanks. And Thane's biggest change, I maybe a little bit harder it wasn't hard for me to see, but it did happen gradually. Like everything happened gradually. Like I think as you started noticing things about life is when things started changing and how you started putting it into play. But you are definitely um, more grounded, more positive, more loving. Like you just, everybody in the family, he'll just say, I want you to know I love you. You're doing a great job of, whatever it is they were doing, raising your kids or to the grandsons, wow, look how smart you are. You got this. You're just very loving and positive with everybody. And not that you weren't loving before, you're more outspoken about it, I think.
Yeah.
And
Because I
definitely
was still
more,
angry.
yeah, and definitely more, again, interactive. Because a lot of times
Yeah, I was
you were there, but
but
you
not
weren't
there.
in
Yeah,
the world.
I was never present. I was
Yeah,
never
yeah.
present.
You
I
were on your
was
phone a lot.
correct. And I was either
Right.
in the past, right,
Yes.
trying to
Yeah.
process stuff that I couldn't figure out, or obsessed with the
Yeah.
future that I was trying to control every detail.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to let that go. And this has taught me that in the most amazing way of being aware is
Yeah.
mastering the here and now in the
Yeah.
present moment.
Yeah. The biggest change, though, I think, is our relationship.
Yeah.
Like, definitely more
Amen. Round of
communicative.
applause. Round of applause. Well, yesterday I shared with the show that we have a perfect marriage. And we have a perfect marriage.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
We said
Nobody's
perfect.
perfect.
Yeah, we took it to the C in the word perfect. That she didn't complete the T. That's actually funny. That one will make me cry because my mom has that necklace that says perfect with the T crooked.
Yeah.
And so we have a perfect marriage, meaning
Yeah.
that there's still things we can work on, but for the most part, like
Well,
you
like you
said,
said, we're all
we're
human.
yes, and you and I are much closer now.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
we communicate a lot better,
Yep.
and we balance a lot better.
Yep.
And I've learned to balance my emotional energy 24/7. You've learned to balance your emotionally 24/7. And then ultimately, you took the course. Now, originally, when I started doing this, I didn't teach it to family. I just wanted to keep it myself.
Right.
And I always told you from the beginning that if you wanted to learn this, I would teach you, but don't obligate it.
Right.
But I think it was based upon seeing not only the results in me, the results in Logan, and then you started seeing the results in other people that
Mhm.
have tried this, that you know or knew of,
Right.
and you saw the results that they were getting, and you saw the videos
Right.
of the transformations and the exercises. Is that when you decided I want to try this myself? What made you decide to say, you know what? Okay, I want to do this.
I think it was. I think I felt like you were blossoming into this other human being, and I was still who I was. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Like I wasn't growing.
No, right.
I wasn't
Yes.
growing. And
Yes.
so I wanted to
Stagnant. That's a good way
see,
to put it.
yeah, I
Mhm.
wanted to see if it would make a difference in
Yeah.
me. Um,
And it did. It has.
yeah, I would say it has. I definitely do the same thing. I put my phone down now a lot
Right.
more, right?
Right.
Yeah, like I used to like listen to my podcasts all the time or music while I was running around the town doing whatever or even at work,
Mhm.
and I wasn't interacting. I was focused on what I was doing. This was my time, but
Yeah.
then once I put my phone down and I started interacting,
Mhm.
um, I really realized how nice it is to be in the world,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
and
and I
just
think in
to,
your case, honey, I think the world is so challenging right now,
mhm,
and I think it's a scary place for many people,
mhm.
and we tend to close off, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think the crazy scary world kind of closed you off a little
yeah,
bit. It kept you from showing up as that, amazing, outwardly loving person that you've always been. But it's kind of like you said, you had stagnated.
yeah.
It wasn't that you weren't sad,
Right,
but you weren't abundantly happy either.
right. Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
you took the course,
yeah,
you learned the technique,
yeah,
you went into the world,
yeah.
you tried it, you struggled with it a little bit until you magically got that first exercise where it was perfect for you.
Right. Mhm,
And then you got what we call the gratitude cocktail,
mhm.
and that changed who you were,
Yeah,
right?
yep,
And you realized how powerful that
yeah,
technique is in
yeah.
shifting your emotional energy and raising you up to a higher vibration
Right,
in the world.
right. Yep,
Okay.
yeah.
That
It's
that makes
beautiful.
sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that would
So that's why I wasn't on my phone while I'm sitting here. I was
you were
watching, I was
listening. Yeah.
listening, but
Because
I'm
I would
also
be
watching
well, so
around
I
me and
mean,
noticing,
yeah.
like you said, patterns like, oh, look, all the birds have gone now,
Mhm.
you
Yes.
know?
Yeah. When you're
Oh,
aware.
but there's still those cute little hummingbirds out
Yeah.
there, which there are tons of in
Do
this
you
Yes,
park.
notice
I'd
like
never
yes.
noticed that
like
before.
so one of the exercises is in the experiential deck. There's a number of exercises around technology and learning to let go of the technology that has consumed us.
Mhm.
So some of those exercises are such like, okay, for the rest of the day, you don't get to use, it's called inconvenient moment. So you basically have to pick something from your life that you regularly rely on, and you have to remove it for the rest of the day. So I play you that card. You get to pick what thing you rely on that you're not going to use. Is it your car? Is it your computer? Is it your cell phone? You pick it. But what has to be is it has to be something that you use regularly, and it has to hurt. It has to hurt. And then when you lose that technology, it's about learning what you learned by not having it. And what you learned and I learned was how much I spent in my phone and how that phone has become like it grabs our attention everywhere we go when we have a spare second. So instead of standing in the grocery line and talking to the person around us, or like Logan would say, reading the tabloids because he loves celebrities, which they're all gone now, by the way. All the trade, the National Enquirer, I don't think you can even buy it anymore. But you now talk to people and you realize, like I did that time when I left my phone home. Remember that day when we both left our phones home?
Yeah.
And how throughout the day we kept, I didn't realize how often I literally, because I'm a monkey, right? Our bodies are monkeys, are trained to grab it. So I got a moment of quietness. My hand literally reaches for my phone. It's like I don't even think about it. It grabs the phone. And I was like doing that when we had left the phones at home. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Do you grab your phone, or does your phone grab you?
Well,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we learned to let that phone go. So I was always on my phone reading news. You were always on your phone playing games. And
Yeah.
what we weren't doing was talking to each other.
Even though we're in the same
We're in the
room,
same
sitting side by
room.
side,
Right. And there are times.
why would we do that?
Right. Now, and there, yeah, communicate. And why are there times, and there are times in our marriage
Yeah.
where I want to be by myself and you
Yeah.
want to be by yourself.
Yep.
And we recognize that. In fact, we even split rooms. Oftentimes you go downstairs and I go upstairs because we all need to have time to just be ourselves.
Yep.
And maybe I want to be on my phone. I want to look at stupid stuff. Maybe I want to play some mind games. Maybe not. But sometimes we just got to disconnect ourselves in the way that we disconnect. So when we do that, good morning. When we do that, we agree to it though. It's like when we're present with each other, we're present.
Yeah.
But if we both agree that this is phone time while we're watching television, that's okay.
Yeah.
But we agree to it.
Yes.
That is the difference. We
Yeah.
don't assume this and assume that. And that's a big difference. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Okay. Something else that's
Sorry,
changed
my headphones are talking to me.
is something else. So we created 2 workshops, right? We had the Gratitude Entanglement Personal Transformation, which you can find on our website, ispurelove.com. And then we also have Elevate, which is a business course which teaches these same things inside of your business. So if you really want to grow your business, teach your employees awareness and emotional intelligence and teach them balance. They will balance their life. And when their life is perfect, they're going to show up at work perfect. And when they show up at work perfect, they're going to execute your business needs. And every player that you have on your team is going to be running with the keys to the Ferrari. Can you imagine what your organization would look like if every person in your company was driving a Ferrari to work? That's what happens when you master the equation life and abundant happiness. You learn how to balance your emotional energy, you learn how to be aware, and you get higher consciousness. And higher consciousness today gives you a competitive edge. And all of it is rooted in gratitude and unconditional love. Yep, isn't that amazing? We could put gratitude and unconditional love inside of a business and teach emotional regulation to your employees so that they are aware, so that when they're sitting there at your desk working for you, they're actually working. They're not thinking about their impending divorce that's ruining their life. No, they're not. They're at work and they're happy. Why? Because they know how to balance.
Yeah.
Truth. I mean, as a business leader, I can't tell you how many times I saw amazing productive employees turn into crap because of personal things that are happening in their life. Guess who was one of them? Me. Me.
Yeah.
Because I had that killer career, but my mental health caused me to not have it. That's the truth.
Yeah.
So there's so much that can come from the equation life and abundant happiness for personal and elevate for business. Because if you give your employees the tools of awareness and emotional intelligence, you're going to teach them the things that they need to know to be successful in their own lives, and then they will show up in your business dialed in at 1000%. And that's why you do it. You can learn about that on my website,
Mhm.
itzpurelove.com.
Yeah.
All of our social handles are iplGratitude365. That's the podcast. iplGratitude365. That's on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts,
Yes.
and Facebook. But you can also find everything at itzpurelove.com. All right. I am in the process of writing my book.
Yep.
I have to write the book. I've tried not to, but I realize now that I have to do that. So I am in the process of getting that book written. And I have successfully taught this technique now to over 25 people.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing because everybody that's done it has completely flourished in it and loves it and still uses it today. And interestingly, still uses the exact same technique.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool is to see it a year later and look at the people that adopted it early and where they're at in their lives.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to start interviewing some of these people
Yeah.
on the show. We're going to do that because, they clearly they hear us and our transformation, but I want them to talk to people that have actually taken it. Like you heard Joy's testimony
Yeah.
of how that showed up for her. Every single person that has taken the equation life and abundant happiness changes their life.
That's true.
It does change their life. So as we close this cycle of 365 sunrises, the message is clear. Gratitude is not the end. It's the beginning.
Mhm. Yep.
Today, we've celebrated a year of sunrises. But this isn't about counting days. It's about making each day count. Gratitude has rewired our brains. It has expanded our hearts. We have heart-brain coherence, and it has connected us to people, nature, and purpose in ways we've never imagined. We've learned that happiness is found in neutrality. That challenges our teachers. That challenges teachers, not punishment. That life flows in waves. And then when we stop resisting, we start writing. We've seen that manifestation and prayer is real. When we believe, become, bestow, and behold. We've discovered that good people are everywhere, that neighbors and nature have wisdom to share, and that family and friends are the greatest gift of all. Now, here's the truth. Gratitude is the solution our divided nation desperately needs. Gratitude does not choose sides. Gratitude does not judge. Gratitude does not separate. It brings us back to neutral. It reminds us that we're more alike than different. And if gratitude can unite two people over 365 sunrises, it can unite an entire nation and a world. So here's to the next sunrise, to gratitude as the anchor, to the equation of life and abundant happiness as the solution, and to each of us as we rise together. Thank you for following Logan and I on this crazy show, 365 days of getting up and celebrating that sun. I appreciate you coming along with us on this journey and watching us laugh and sometimes cry and even
Mhm.
sometimes get angry on the show.
Yeah.
But it's been quite the ride. So I just want to thank everybody that is my family and my friends and my parents and everybody that supported me and Logan for showing up every day. Logan, I'm going to let you take a few minutes just to share what this has done for you in your life. And I know you've prepared something that you would like to share.
Well, you gave an assignment last night that to do 10 points that I just could not quite articulate in a piece of paper.
Uh-huh.
So I wrote a little bit of a letter
Okay.
here. So so forgive me, I'm not the greatest at reading out loud here. So especially in public. So I wrote, Dear Stain, 1 year ago today, 365 days that I can now count as some of the most meaningful. You gave me a gift that has continued to grow inside me every single day. You took time to explain gratitude, the equation of life, and how abundance and happiness are not things to chase, but truths we can live in. I can't fully put into words how deeply your words changed me. You helped me see that happiness doesn't come from what's missing, but from recognizing what's already here. You reminded me that life's equation balances out when we Lead with thankfulness, and that the smallest acts of gratitude can multiply into a life of abundance. This past year, your wisdom has been my compass. On days when I felt uncertain, I went back to what you shared, and it grounded me. On days when I felt joy, it deepened that joy even more. You didn't just explain something to me, you handed me a way of seeing life that I will carry forever. Thank you. Not just for being my brother, but for being someone whose love and insight shaped the person that I'm becoming. A year ago,
It's the person that you are today.
you planted a seed in me, and today I stand in the garden of it.
Mm.
I am grateful to you always. With all my love and appreciation, your brother Logan.
Mm.
And I want you to have this.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate
As
that.
we get all
Thanks
that feedback here.
thank you for again for just coming on this journey and trusting me. And if you believe in destiny, then you have to understand that we were meant to meet each other in this life, weren't we? Two different families that somehow
Yep.
united in a common,
Yep.
and so you have a family.
Yes.
You have people that love you exactly as you are. And that's what's the most rewarding thing for me is seeing you fly. And I'm so
Likewise.
proud of you. I'm
Likewise.
so proud of the changes that you've made and the way that you've adopted this. And look at the differences in your life, right? And here's the thing, Logan, we got some challenges coming up for you, don't we?
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
got
we
some
do.
challenges with the Huntington's disease and the other things, but I think that you have a family that loves you and cares about you and will always be there for you, right? You're
really good friends.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, right. So that's I think what the most beautiful thing is for me is seeing you awake and alive and good in the world. And if nothing came from this,
Yeah.
which that's not going to happen,
Yeah.
but if that was where it stopped,
Yep.
I would be good.
Yeah.
Because I'm good and you're good. And that woman over there, she's good too.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And my family's good and life could not be more abundant.
Yeah.
And on that note, what are you thankful for, Logan?
I'm thankful for you folks right here today.
Yes, likewise.
I love you guys.
I love you too, man. I'm so grateful. I'm just so thankful for my life and for everything. And this experiment in 365 days of waking up with the sun. Never thought it would change my life the way that it has changed it. Like, I just didn't think that was possible. And I never thought that I could feel normal.
Yeah.
I
Well,
never thought that I would feel normal.
I don't feel normal because normal is just a setting on my washing machine.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel
I
complete.
like that.
I feel complete.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. I like
I
that.
feel whole.
I like
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
definitely like that. All right. What am I thankful for? Everything. Everything. And on that note, we're going to close this 2-hour show, the longest show we ever did, but we covered a lot. We appreciate you if you stayed through the whole episode, and we look forward to returning. So I think our next podcast will probably be we'll probably podcast within a week, but we won't get the booth up and the locations posted so people can come out and see us. It'll probably take us a couple weeks to get that going.
Yeah.
So until then, you can always go to isperlove.com to learn about our programs and what we do. And you can also go to iplGRATITUDE365 on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. So that's IPL, which stands for It's Pure Love. That is the producer of the Gratitude 365 podcast. That's why our handle is at IPL Gratitude 365. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for following us and supporting us. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Dare to be second.